A wonderful fact to reflect upon.
That every human creature is constituted to be that profound secret and mystery to every other. A solemn consideration.
When I enter a great city by night.
That every one of those darkly clustered houses encloses its own secret.
That every room in every one of them encloses its own secret.
That every beating heart in the hundreds of thousands of breasts there
is in some of its imaginings a secret to the heart nearest it.
What brings you to Lake Ellis today? Nature, for sure. Anything to do to be close to the water, the spring weather, the ducks.
Ooh, we haven't hung out in a bit, and we wanted to catch up, like talk about, our lives and everything going on.
Yeah.
And you come here a lot, so.
Just came out here to spend time with my mom because we don't do it very often. Because I always got school to do and she's always got work.
Sonder, the realization that each random passerby is living a life as vivid and complex as your own.
One of the reasons why we really like Tallahassee so much, or maybe why I really like Tallahassee so much, is that there's just, since it is a very college town type place, if you go to just a supermarket or just somewhere over here, you see people your age, and it's maybe they're going through other things, taking different paths than you or different majors and whatnot, but it's still we're here in this space and we're going through that navigation right now in our lives, even if it's different. So I guess there's some sense of comfort in that for me.
In your life, you're the only one that it's your life, or at least I feel that's how it is with me. A lot of the focus is on yourself, so it's kind of hard to remember that there are other people who are literally thinking the same thing as you.
I think it helps to make you remember not to have too many preconceived notions, to recognize that your viewpoint, your filter is filtering why you think they're doing things, and you can't really know why anybody does anything unless they tell you. How about you? Nothing.
Nothing.
There could be definitely a melancholic outlook of Sonder, and you might view Sonder as something that's kind of depressing or makes the world seem bigger than it actually is, and that might stress you out. But for me, Sonder is completely optimistic. It gives people the opportunity to feel validated, and like I said, it helped me be less judgmental and more considerate of people. And I think if people viewed Sonder through that, I think that would change everything.
My name is Ross Moret. I study religious ethics, specifically Muslim ethics and Christian ethics. There's this idea called the theory of mind, in which basically it's the ability that human beings have to recognize that other creatures, and particularly other human beings, have their own thoughts, beliefs, experiences, points of view.
Yeah, I feel a lot of people are more closed in to their groups and stuff. I'm very I could be friends with anyone, literally could be friends with anyone. So I think it is good for people to get out of their shell and talk to people and.
Yeah. We became best friends, and I met her at a bar. So hey.
Yeah.
What barriers exist right now that kind of keep people from coming closer to one another?
Well, again, there are a couple ways of talking about it, right? But I'll give you three perspectives, okay? So one perspective would be the evolutionary perspective, and the idea that we are individuals who are trying to survive on our own first. And so all of our experiences are going to be filtered through that.
I was here weeks ago, and a young man approached me and chatted me up, and he was struggling, was currently unemployed. His housing situation was tenuous, and so we ended up just having a nice conversation about hope and finding keeping an optimistic state of mind for the next best thing.
There's a religious perspective, especially a Christian one, in which there's this idea of sin that is very old. A famous Christian theologian named Martin Luther said sin is being curved in on oneself. This idea that we are so preoccupied with our own interests, with our own advantages, with the things that we care about, that it just warps our entire experience of other people.
Earlier, like half an hour ago, as I was actually setting up the chairs and had the sign showing, a man walked by and then kind of turned back. I said, "Sir, do you need healing prayers?" He says, "Yes, I do." And he walked over and he sat in the chair, and it was he had a lot of things going on and cancer treatments and all kinds of stuff, and we prayed for him, and I asked, "Did you feel anything?" And he said, "Yeah, I felt the tingling from the bottom of my toes to the top of my head. It's not me, it's God."
And then there's also a kind of, I'll say, sociological way of looking at it, in which the idea might be that we're in a deeply capitalistic, individualistic society, and that structures many of the ways that we view other people. We are taught implicitly and sometimes explicitly to treat other people as means to ends and not as ends in themselves.
A lot of times you see the news and you see all these reports where they report about people as sort of numbers. They don't reference them as individuals unless they're trying to evoke a very emotional response. But really, those numbers are always individuals. They always have very complex and integral lives. They have formative experiences. They have individual complex psychologies. So like every time that a person is lost, it is a very deep and complex personality that is lost with that person.
How do you think that we as a society, individuals in that society, can be better strangers to one another?
I mean, obviously everyone could work on, being more friendlier and more open and stuff. So, I mean, I definitely could. But I feel like I get along with everyone. I try to be nice to everyone and speak to people I don't know.
I feel like I could work on it, for sure.
I lived in New Orleans for a long time, and it was common that if you pass somebody in the street, you always say hello and where you at and how you doing, and I think that just even that is a small thing.
I think that there's also a degree of personal responsibility and personal possibility to change oneself. And I think that that's a long process that one has to do every day.
It makes you feel more empathetic to a person.
That was actually the same word that I was going to use. It lets you go around life with more empathy and more understanding and maybe more of a need to ask questions.
There you go. It's the love.